All right, guys. So I'm going to just have you get a little closer to the mic for me.
Okay.
All right. So who wants to go ahead and answer first? Because I'm going to have both of you guys answer the same questions for me.
It doesn't matter. We'll just go off.
Say it again.
I said it doesn't matter. We'll just bat off each other.
Okay. Because I'm just going to need to figure out who you guys, like, who is who.
Miss Jonathan, and I'm Deontay.
Perfect. Okay.
He's
So
the vice president. I'm a senator.
Okay,
That
perfect.
matters.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. So Jonathan, I'll go ahead and ask you first. What made you want to join SGA at SSC?
My initial reason is to actually want to open up SGA because we didn't have it for a while, and to actually see that there's events on campus and things on campus that we can do that no one's aware of and no one's pushing it. There's also a lack of communication between the students and the actual college. So personally, my personality is to basically try to be a liaison between people in general, and student government was just there, and I saw opportunities, so I went for it.
And then Deontay, why did you want to join SGA?
The reason I wanted to join SGA is because when I first got to this school, you could see right away that it's a dead zone. There's nothing to do. But then the more I dug into it and did some more research on my own personally, I realized that there's a lot more to the school that nobody knows about within this school. So, just being that voice for the students, because that voice has been taken away for 2 whole years before I even got here, that crippled us as a school, as a college, which broke our communication, as my brother said earlier. So, I joined because I want to reunite us as a whole, and I want the students to know that their voices do matter because it is about them. Our education is about them. It revolves around the students. It's not just come to school to come to school. So that's why I want to join.
Perfect. How did you guys originally hear about SGA at South Suburban?
Well, we knew the previous president, Art, and then he
Art
got
Tatum, right?
Yeah, Art Tatum, Rennell. And then, he was also the student trustee, so we knew him for a while. And then we had art club. We were in art club as well. So for art club, since the SGA was being utilized, we were allowed to use it. And then at some point, we all tried to basically get it started back. A few of us are also in the student leadership program as well. So we're aware of things that are not going on in the school. One other thing is that as an organization, in us going to other schools, we know that there should be a student government in action to basically kind of not dictate, but advocate and basically, connect the organizations to the rest of the school and spread the word about things. So as our own club, we basically, again, we were in the room, we saw a need for it, and then we were like, we're gonna do something about it.
Awesome. How did you hear about SGA?
All right, so I first heard of SGA when I first got here. When I first got here, I went to Student Life because I just came from Triton College, which is one of the biggest community colleges in Illinois. They have tons of clubs, but to get back on track, I'm a big guy in terms of being involved in the community of college life. And so when I got here, I'm like, oh, hey, what clubs can I join? Someone directed me to Student Life. And when I went to Student Life, I saw SGA, then they said a Student Government Association, and I saw Swag Arts Club, and I saw a few different clubs. So when I went to locate SGA, there was no SGA. And then so I was like, that's strange, and at the time, it wasn't really a big deal made out of it, but I felt like it should have been. But I was just getting here, so who was I? But that's how I heard about it. I heard about it at Student Life, and then when I went down to try to join, because I was at TCSA, which was Triton College Student Association as well, which is the government body for that school, I wanted to do it here, and I was surprised to know that we didn't have it, which is also why I kind of figured why the school was the way that it was. But I first heard about it at Student Life.
Awesome. What are you guys hoping to implement or change here at South Suburban? What's your initial goal? You want to answer first?
Yeah, I'll go first this time. Our initial goal is to reunite the students in the school as one. This school, I don't know if you guys are aware of our chairman, Frank Zuccarelli. he was actually a student here. During his speech and when the time when we honored him, he was talking about how lively, this school was. This school was very lively. And the liveliness he described, I don't know if I could ever reciprocate that from myself because he emoted from real experience, but the liveliness he described is the liveliness I visioned this school having from the day I stepped foot in here. We just weren't allowed to because we didn't have an SGA. So I would say our main goal, and he can touch more on it, our main goal here is to, give life to the students, to let them have a good time, to have them to live their life and make mistakes, but know that there's help, know that they have a voice, know that they could change things, you know what I'm saying? Know that it's not like a warden place where you just come and like, I gotta go to school. So many people here, attitude is, I have to come to school. I don't feel like going to school. Or like our enrollment rates dropped more than 30% within one semester because a lot of people are telling their friends, don't come here. It's boring. There's nothing to do here. There's nothing, no activities. You're not going to get nothing that's not going to benefit you from your future. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to set up a program in place where their future will be bright. You know what I'm saying? You will have endless opportunities, endless network connections. It will benefit you. You will have something to look forward to when you walk through these doors. That's what we want to do. We want to create the image that our chairman described because we know that's what the school can be.
For sure. What was that event that you were at where Chairman Zuccarelli was speaking? Do you remember?
The Veterans Dinner.
Oh, yes.
Memorial, yeah.
Yes, I was here for that, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, you were.
I was, yeah. Okay. And then same question for you.
Personally, so I mentor at the Boys and Girls Club on some days and also mentor at church and in my neighborhood. So one thing I always try to do is to basically see how people are and see how I can help them in general. So my thing is, when I tell my friends, is tell me what you need and I will make it happen, which I usually do. So with the school, one thing I noticed is that a lot of resources here are not advertised. When it comes to, like mental services like that, and stress in general, as students, we have things in our own lives. And sometimes people don't realize that, little stress, little pieces of stress just kind of add up. So with that, over time, that actually affects how you are, your ability to actually learn. So if you can't learn, what's the point of going to school in a sense, right? But basically make an environment where people actually learn and want to be here. So sometimes you might come right now, like 2:30 right now, 2 o'clock right now, and go to the cafeteria, it's kind of empty. You walk around the campus, there's not much going on. You go into tutoring center sometimes it's full, sometimes it's not. And the thing about that is the resources we have here, the facilities we have here are not used consistently. A lot of people, they do for the tutoring center, they go at the beginning of the semester sometimes, but mainly towards midterms and finals. If you do that, you're not being efficient enough to do what you need to do. So it's like that. It's the use of academic counselors. I graduated this semester, actually. Counselor Hannah, Hannah. He worked with me personally, and he even personally checked up on my graduation application for me without me even saying anything. But that's because I use that service, And a lot of kids, a lot of students don't actually do that. You know what I'm saying? So they said, if I can advocate and basically get those services out there more and go person to person and talk to some of the students personally and tell them and notify them of this, I think that would help make the school better from a grassroots approach in general.
Absolutely. So you said you're graduating this semester. What's your major and what do you plan on doing once you graduate?
I'm glad you asked. So as I said, I'm graduating with a associate's in applied science. That is because at Purdue, I went for mechanical engineering and computer science. I can do it, but it's not my passion. I took an advisor's advice, and she said to go for organizational leadership. So I did that. I loved the class, about management, everything. I loved it. Then I came here because it's cheaper here. And then basically it's like got to applied science, and that is just so right now while I mentor everything, I can still get experience working with the children I need to work with, so that over time, and by the time I graduate my bachelor's, I would have already started or established a foundation for my mentoring program myself. It would be nonprofit. So that's the goal right now. I've already made networking connections. I have mentors from the Boys and Girls Club and various places I've worked with. So I mean, that's pretty much it. So basically, to make a community outreach program, it starts in mentoring, but it's way deeper. It goes into CAPS programs that are not being utilized in the communities. How you have DARE, things like that. Amen. There's a stigma with cops and everything, and that's not true. The cops here, we feel safe around them. We see them; they're friendly. Part of our communities, that's not something that's focused on. It's always a negative stigma. So I want to break that down. So everything I'm doing here is just to prepare me, even student government, is to partially prepare me for those situations where I had to talk to people higher up in other positions, like the board or the president of a company or something like that. So they said, I already had things planned out. It's just a matter of me graduating here and then moving on to the next university to complete my mission.
Do you know where you want to go to school yet?
Right now, I want to go to SIU. They have their workforce development program is like I used to be number 8th, but I believe right now it's like number 5th or 3rd in the country.
Okay.
So as a veteran dependent, I can go there. I'm all right.
Yeah.
And also, one thing I did forget to mention. Frank Zuccarelli actually mentioned that there were a lot of veterans on his campus before, and it was very lively for the veterans.
Yep.
And I think just out of respect, right, we should do more to make sure that they have a voice in the school to an extent, because you see them, they've gone through something more like they're a veteran. Even if you didn't go to war, there are psychological effects of the training you have to deal with. And like I said, another thing with the psychology of people, they can also use services here too that no one's, advocating for. And so that's pretty much it. Just gotta, do my community outreach program, and then in the process help anyone I can.
When you were at Purdue, did you end up graduating from there, or did you transfer here?
Transferred.
You transferred here.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you said that your eventual goal is to create your own non-for-profit.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. I just wanted to make sure that I understood everything correctly. And then your eventual goal once you graduate from SSC, like what's your major? What do you want to do?
All right, so I'm majoring in Associates of Arts here. I have 2 more semesters left, so a whole year. So around this time next year, I will actually be graduating. So I'll stay with you guys for a whole other year, which would be fun.
Yeah.
With my associate arts degree, I plan to become a dental hygienist, and from that point on, I also want to further my career and go to a university. I want to be a doctor. All right. So there's different types of doctors. There's tons of them. I want to be a cardiologist in particular, and then a cardiovascular surgeon as well. So an open heart surgeon. At some point, is where I want my life to take a toll and go. Either that or a psychiatrist. So whichever one, I'm not really sure on, but I do know what is concrete is that once I graduate my associates next year, I'll get a well-paying job as a dental hygienist, because that's one of the main jobs that you can get with that degree at the time, and I will continue to go to school. My main picks right now for school is the University of Chicago. That is my number 1 choice because they're the number 1 school in medicine. Globally, they're the number 1 school in medicine. Their acceptance rate is at 8%, but I'm not worried. As long as you put in the work, you will reap the benefit of it. I got a few more colleges I got in mind, like Morehouse University or U of I in Champaign, because they're actually really good when it comes to nursing and doctoring as well. But me going to be a doctor requires you to have 4 years of undergrad, so your bachelor's degree of any degree, and then you have to go to medical school and you have to pass the HESH exam, which is the medical placement test that you have to take to enter medical
school.
Yeah, enter medical school. And after you do that, you have to do residency for 4 to 6 years. Then you have to do accelerated training in another, that's like 2 years.
So you got a while to go.
Yeah,
huh?
I got a nice little while to go. But one thing I do know for sure is that I don't want to be a doctor for the rest of my life. Although that is my goal. That is my goal to do that. My passion is to help people in general. So
that's why you're a part of SGA.
That's why I'm a part of SGA. I have a voice for people. I've always had this voice, even when I was a younger guy. So like in terms of me singing, it's like for people to actually understand, or to understand people more, to know what to sing or how to sing it. It's not just you getting up there singing a song because you can blow like windpipes, or in terms of photography, I just love helping people. Like my job, most of my jobs has always been fast food or sales. When it comes to that, like I was a manager at Wendy's, and I just recently worked at Best Buy. I quit to focus more on school now. But the customer's needs always came first, and I always enjoyed that. Like to see my customer come in one way and to see them leave completely happy. That that makes me feel good. Like, that's my passion. So nursing in the medical field and being a doctor is just one of my options, but my main passion is to help people. So where that will lead me in life, I would be lying if I tell you I knew right now. I'm pretty positive I'm going to be a man of many hats. I definitely know I'm going to end up owning a couple of organizations or businesses that revolve around the help and the aid of people. So, after I leave here next year and go to university, that's when I plan to really figure all that out within the next year.
Awesome.
But I do definitely know my passion is to help people, so that's what I'm going to move on.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to see what you guys get into once you graduate from here. I hope we definitely keep in touch and let me know what you guys are up to, even when you're gone. Because we do this thing called alumni stories on campus, where we do videos and stuff of our successful alums, what they're up to now. So yeah, make sure that you guys keep in touch with me, because I definitely would love to see where you guys end up going.
Definitely.
One question that I have for both of you guys is, I know that you said that you got to campus and you were like, oh, there's not a lot going on here. Mm-hmm. So what made you guys choose SSC initially? Was it the cost? Was it the location? What made you, Deontay, if you want to start, you can.
So for me, it was, okay, so not to get too much to my personal life story, that'll be for a personal interview, but I moved from my mother's house to my father's house, and he lived all the way out this way. So the commute to Triton was just crazy. Mm-hmm. But, I valued their education, and I didn't know of any other schools. My sister recommended SSC to me because she actually went here prior to me going here, because she owns her own business as well, and I help her in that. It's the event planning business, so that's what we do together. But she was here taking a few classes for business to get her degree to be, established in that field of business. And she told me about it, and she kind of gave me the scoop on certain teachers to take and certain teachers not to take. Also, I had a run-in with SSC at the Male Leadership Conference, the Summit Conference, that always happens at Governor State every year in November when I was at Triton. So I had actually met some people from Triton the year of 2017 at the conference before I even came here. So, it was just felt like a comfortable choice to make, because it was closer to home, and it was something I had people that I knew I can get along with based off the conference, and the mentors and stuff. I knew it was people I could kind of associate myself with and actually get the help that I needed. Gotcha. So I was like, oh yeah, this would be a great choice. And then when I got here, I'm like, oh, this was an awesome choice, but it needs a lot of work. It's something I love to do. I love to fix stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's why I was happy enough. That's why I was happy to actually be here, and I'm actually happy to stay here, because I love to fix things, and this campus needs a lot of fixing. So.
And then, Jonathan, what made you choose SSC?
Initially, I was at Purdue my first semester, computer science, and I was taking my classes, but, first-time student, sometimes you don't do so well, so I came here. I said my dad's a veteran. My dad was a veteran, has passed out. So, basically, this is one of the closest schools, and then I don't have to technically pay out of pocket for it, because, I have, my dependent benefits. So I use those to take classes here.
From your dad, from being a veteran?
Yeah, because he's in Vietnam. So, that's partially where my respect for veterans comes from. Mm-hmm. So, when it comes to that, really, it's a heartfelt situation. So, I know my brother came here for a while, before he went back down to SIU. My sister came here to take summer classes. She was at SIU, then she transferred to Western Illinois University, getting a bachelor's in criminal justice. Mm-hmm. So she's doing her thing now. And basically, I was the last one. The things that have come here. I tend to go to the Air Force after I came here, and partially that was part of my reason for coming here as well, to go to the Air Force. But
to go into the Air Force?
Yeah. However, things change, and my purpose to help kids and help the community. Personally, I didn't feel as though I could do that. Spending 4 years elsewhere at the moment. So rather I'll stay here, do what I can while I'm here. And then the reason I'm still at SSC is mainly because I got here, and what I know is different about SSC is that because it's a community college, you will have in your class both people younger than you and older than you, and they might already be in the same workforce you're going for. So I took my networking class, networking and data communication class, and already met people in the field. So I realized that I would rather be at a community college first, because not only the teachers, but also the students can teach you more, than at a university where everyone's around the same age. They might know a little bit more, but their life experience might be a little different. So, and even then, I've been mentored by a few people, a few of my classmates actually. So that's helped me with the classmates themselves. So like I said, so I came here because of my family, and I'm staying partially because of people that's already here, and it's a connection to them in general.
For sure. Yeah, you guys both seem to have really good heads on your shoulders. I'm really glad that you guys came down. I'm really glad that you ran for SGA. I'm looking forward to the changes that you guys make on campus, and hopefully getting student life, more involved and that sort of thing too. Why do you guys how do you guys think that you ended up so mentally savvy? I know that that's a weird question, but you both seem you're both very educated, and you guys have goals and you have dreams, and where did that how'd you guys get that?
I know personally, it's we got a saying, it was it's glad that we don't look like what we've been through. Part of it is life isn't easy in general. Some people have worse situations than others, but while we all have built something in our lives, we don't let it take us over. So there's a certain mental psyche of overcoming an issue and then learning from it, and then to move on and do better. So we all have that hunger to just do better. At the same time, we somehow all innately just like to help people, and that's one thing we all have in common. So when it comes to stuff like this, when you see something and you love to help people, you just want to make a difference naturally. So I can almost say for us to be an SGA at some point, or any position where we can help others, is inevitable, no matter what. Because when I came here, I never thought I'd be an SGA. At very least, I didn't think I'd be the vice president, But here I am, and I have to play my role and do what I can do what I'm meant to do here. So.
Awesome. So you said that it's mostly overcoming obstacles and stuff, and that's how you kind of became the person you are today.
Yeah.
For me, it was my mom. Just to share a little bit about her, not to put her business out there, but my mom had my sister at 16 years old in high school, and everyone was how everyone talks when stuff like that happens, and they were like, oh, you're not going to graduate high school, you got a baby, now your life is over. She graduated with honors and distinction from her high school. She had me at 19, and they were like, oh, you're not going to make a living out of yourself, but she went with her 2 kids, and she worked, and she got a job, and she instilled in us. And from that, it just gave me strength and courage. Even since I was a young boy, I was telling you with my handwriting, which is my unique ability, I'm left-handed, dominant with my print hand, but I write cursive with my right hand. She was always preparing us for tomorrow, because she knew the type of world we were in, and she knew the type of life she had, that she didn't want that life for her kids. And so, by the time my younger brother got there, my mom, she's a strong mom. And she's still alive today. She's really great.
Is she single mom?
Yeah, she's definitely a single mom, yeah. Which also came with our strength as well, because, she always instilled in us the people to actually look for. By her being single, she didn't steer away from, oh, this is what it should be, or this is what you should do. She's always stayed on top of her stuff, and she always did what she had to do to make sure her kids were all right, and she still checks up on us today because we're her babies.
Good.
So, I feel in my heart, and I know for a fact she did an excellent job with me. She is the reason I am 98% of the man I am today, because although my father wasn't there like he should have been, he was still included in my life, but my mom taught me everything I know in terms of how to be a man, and in terms of how to respect a woman, and how they should be treated, and how I should just want more for myself. She always tell me all the time, she said ever since I was a young boy, she been knew that the type of lifestyle I want, I need to go to school because I have an expensive lifestyle. And so, and yes, she's right. I have on a lot of name brand stuff, latest stuff all the time. And that's just the type of personality that I have, is I'm very happy, to earn those type of things. And she pretty much instilled in me that knowledge is power. You know what I'm saying? When you know, you do better. When you don't know, you're lost. And that's what I normally get from her. So always talking to her and just always getting that insight, and her still pouring that knowledge in us every day to make sure it stayed with us, every day. It sparked something in me when I was younger, and I stayed and ran with it ever since. So sometimes although she may think I'm not listening, always listen. So even when I feel like teachers weren't teaching to their strongest ability, which is still the case, even some of my professors, I can't give away their names, but I've always educated myself. So it's like my textbook may talk about Christopher Columbus as this great guy, but I already knew, like in first or second grade, we're talking like literally first, second grade, I had to be about 9 and 10 years old. I already knew from my own research that he didn't, just discover America or, like factual stuff. So I already knew from a young age that our books were fabricated and my education was being downplayed due to the color of my skin and many other reasons. And so from that point on, I always self-educated myself. My mom always taught me to work hard and strive for who you are and what you want to be. As long as you're determined, nobody can deter you. And so that's the type of person I am today. That's the type of guy that you get from me, and it's because of my mom. That's why I am the way I am today.
Absolutely. That was a good quote. Do you want to tell me a little bit about your background, Jonathan?
All right.
Because you talked about like overcoming obstacles too,
Yeah.
and I think it might help too in like when I write this up, like students to see like that you were raised by a single mom and you guys are making it happen. You know what I mean? So it's good for them to get to know you a little bit better.
I feel like this, because there's a few obstacles I've overcome. I'll say the first one for my family. There's 5 of us, five of my siblings on my mom's side. So at one point in time, we're actually homeless like maybe 2 or 3 times. One single woman, 5 kids. We didn't move out to Hammond until 2008. So right before that, I think we probably stayed in like a hotel, something like that. You know, so life has not been easy. It's been worse than I don't care to mention right now. But at this point, we went from being homeless 2 or 3 times to living in a hotel. Believe it or not, I almost didn't pass 5th grade, but I was allowed to skip 1st grade. So we slight challenges I overcome recently in my life. But as far as education and life, despite all of that, my oldest brother, he ended up getting a full ride to Marquette University. He came to Kappa. Now he's in the Air Force. He's getting out right now, and he's doing. I don't want to put materials out there, but he's doing extremely well. My sister, right below him, she's about to graduate from SIU this semester. Then my middle brother, he is graduated high school, didn't graduate college, but he went to a program, and now he's going to the Air Force for reserves. So he leaves this month. All right. So 2 in the Air Force, one getting out, one going in, and then my sister right below him. She's my only full-blood sibling that I have. So I'm personally the child of outside the marriage. I'm the second child outside the marriage. So growing up,
you said the second child outside of marriage?
Yeah, so my sister, my full-blood sister is the first one, and then my dad. My sister, me, afterwards. So that's always been a challenge for me, which is like, I'm not supposed to be here, because if somebody else did the right thing, I wouldn't be here. So it kind of humbles me at times, and I think about that. And I never got that question. Got that question answered as to why he continued. And I see
why he continued?
Yeah, so like, my sister cheated, and then my sister, and then, people get weak sometimes. And then after my sister still married, then had me with my mom.
Yeah.
He was still married when we had 2 kids outside of marriage. Right. So, growing up in a family like that, it hasn't been, like, he's loving, he's always there. He provided for both families unconditionally. And I love him for that. Let's say growing up, that's been an issue with me. Plus, our family situation. But then to see how we all turned out, that we're, graduating. You got one graduated college first.
Successful.
Yeah, one graduating college this semester. For a bachelor's. My brother we're going to the Air Force. My sister below him already graduated her bachelor's in criminal justice from Western Illinois. Then I'm graduating this semester. Plus everything I've done, that's just pretty much, it puts you in a state of like acceptance of life and perspective how things can be. With all that said, my dad passed January 14th for like 2:44, I think, last year.
2017?
No, 2018.
Oh, 2018.
So that means...
I'm sorry, that's
yeah,
awful.
So that means... And even then, I messed up last semester, and I had to pay for classes out of pocket. So I'm dealing with depression, and I had to overcome that personally. So at least, as far as my most recent struggle, I've had to overcome losing my dad, and then still trying to act like everything's okay, or still trying to get through it. So I did that, and then right after that, one of my mentors, he offered me the option to basically lead our mentoring program for the Boys and Girls Club. You know, decent pay. Well, I have to get it back out here. You know, I'm in the process of that. That's why I need to graduate so I can get to that point. And pretty much before my dad passed, the day before he passed, that was like one of the last things I told him. So it's like, and the crazy thing is he supported me no matter what I did. You know, he'd be the first to tell me, you can't do it. Like, he loved something I couldn't do something.
Yeah.
But he's also the first and almost sometimes the only one trying to help me do it at the same time.
Gotcha.
So when I do stuff like this, it's like, if my dad could see me now, and he's spiritual, but you know, I don't want to get into that. But like I said, with that, it's a lot of this is basically like continuing a legacy. And he was even part of a nonprofit, you know, pro-black nonprofit, UAPA. And he had me around there. They had marches. I was a kid making signs. I had to be out there in the street with them. You know, I was in a few two you know, young black male mentor programs, which made me the way I am today with mentoring. While I believe in it so much. So it all just comes together. So that's my background. That's what pushes me sometimes. And like I said, life hasn't been easy, and it's always something to overcome. And there's personal stuff going on me right now. But you know, I said, you know, I didn't want to go to class last night. I didn't want to come today. But I said, basically, you have a job today. You have to keep moving. Because I think my dad, when he passed, he was weak. And you know he's okay because he makes jokes. So despite how he was sick. He was on oxygen, so he couldn't breathe. So they had him on the highest oxygen setting that was toxic. And I realized a few days before, I was like, they don't have this at the house. We can't have this at the house. If he goes to he can't make it. He can't live at home. And then I was like, he's not going to make it. So realizing that puts you in a place of acceptance of things, and like, this is a situation. Right. So you carry that same perspective with you through life at that point. It's a part of life. You got to live with it. But you know, like, the thing about that I'm saying is, he still stayed himself to the end. No matter what he had to do, no matter what the situation was, he stayed strong, and he basically got the job done, no matter what. And I just want to be just like him in that sense. So that's what I try to get. That's what I try to be at times.
That's what you're striving to.
Yeah. So whether people know it or not, that's my sometimes subconscious motivation that I have to get it done. Because, like, you know, I told my dad I'd do it. So at this point, you know, I have to. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing your stories with me. Would you mind if I shared the part about you? You said that you went through a bit of time when you were homeless and stuff. Would you mind if I shared that?
No,
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I just think that sharing stuff like that, especially with students around campus, they may like see your story or your story about like you and your dad or you and your mom being homeless, that sort of thing. Then they may be able to connect with that, and that may want them to, you know, like to join clubs and organizations to get to know you guys and that sort of thing, to kind of help with that cohesion.
You know, my thing with that I always believe is people connect through pain. You know, so you don't have to still the same experience, right? But the amount of pain that you feel, you can recognize people sometimes. You can tell when someone's been hurt. Right. And sometimes it's not that misery loves company, it's that, you know, it's not to know someone knows how you feel. So they say, when it comes to kids, you know, adults don't always get to a kid's level and understand how they feel. So I think that's a big part for this campus, just basically be more of a family in a sense, and just like get down to everyone's level, eye level, and ask them what it is that they need for them to prosper. And try to provide that the best that we can, because we have the facilities, we have the money, we can get the grants. It just takes someone to sit there and say, what do you need and how can I help you?
To kind of add on to what he was saying, you know, I feel the same way in terms of it's not just about who we are and what we've been through. You know what I'm saying? Like, me being younger, I knew, you know what I'm saying, I didn't have everything other kids have. Like, other kids had cars freshman year. I walked all 4 years of my high school life. My school was down the street. That's all I needed. You know what I'm saying? Their moms were like their best friends, or they got everything they wanted and stuff like that. But, you know, and some people may say my mom was too hard on me, but I'm glad she was. She had to be. You know what I'm saying? She was the only one doing it. And kind of go back to what he was saying, like if my mom wasn't as hard on me as she was, or if I didn't go through all of what I went through, you know, losing people close to me and stuff like that. Same thing with John. Like, I lost my brother 2 years ago. Aside from my mom, this is my brother on my father's side. I have like literally 10 siblings, and I'm dead smack in the middle on each side of the family. So my brother, he was my jewel, you know, like ever since I was a young guy. When I did go to my father's house, I was always under him, you know. So and he always stressed, you know, do good in school, do good in school, do good in school. You're very smart. You're the smartest out of all of us. Do good in school. You're gonna invent something. And he used to tell me that all the time. Even when I got distracted, don't get distracted. Just focus on school. And you know, that was my biggest supporter, my biggest motivator. You know what I'm saying? He made me feel how I wanted to feel after I made an accomplishment. But he also always allowed me to know that, hey, don't settle for that accomplishment, because that's just one. Go get more. Don't limit yourself. Don't limit your potential. Right. Yeah. And that's what he always showed me. And you know, he was into music. Some people might know him as an underground artist and producer, but some people might know him as who he is. I knew him as my brother, although everybody else knew him as Smiles. You know, so yeah, I really miss him a lot. But he's the reason. Him and my mom are the main two reasons I push. And I just got a new baby sister.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. Well, she's one now, but still, you know, like...
Hey, I know all about that. I have a 10-year-old brother, and I'm 31.
Man.
So there's 20 years between him and I. Man. So I get, like, he's still my baby brother, even though he's,
and I'm
like
20,
10. No,
and
11
she's
now.
1. Yeah. I'm 20, and she's 1. I'm about to be 21.
So you guys are just like us. Yeah, 20 years
and
apart.
So,
it's
you know,
crazy.
He'll tell you, I talk their ear off all the time about my baby sister. It's like my baby. I told my father and stepmom, I'm like, hey, you guys birthed this one, but this is my baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love her. And, like, just looking at her every day, you know, that's enough motivation to see her smile, see her hug my neck, you know, with her little tiny arms. It just motivates me to be like, how could I make this world, not even just this school, but how can I make this world a better place for people, you know what I'm saying, to be as happy as her. Because, you know, a lot of people don't understand that babies are very, very intelligent, and they're very molecular to use in terms of, what do they call them? Similes and stuff like that, and metaphors and all that stuff. Like her learning how to walk. When they try to learn to walk, they fall, they get up, they keep getting up. You know, sometimes when we get older, it gets harder to get back up. And then on top of us having a hard time trying to get back up, we also have people that act like they want us to get back up, but they don't. And then we don't know. You know, so it's just like it's so hard. And, you know, I'm like, how can I make this a better place? And always explain to her how beautiful it is. Always explain to her how smart she is. That's my mindset. So, like, I tell a lot of people, like, one of my favorite songs is Kelly Clarkson. She's like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You know, you still live around and all that. So, yeah, you know, and I love that song. I be in the house screaming that song to the rooftops.
It's
like,
a good one.
It is. And when stuff get ready to fall apart, I just sing it and keep going like, I got this. It's really hard to do, but like he said, they have a need for us. And, you know, we're all about helping people. So that's what it is.
Do you guys have anything else you'd like to add?
No,
I mean, I think
one thing, it's as far as people knowing the story of things. So, in addition to this being the first year with my dad, at the beginning of the semester, I've lost a family member each month of this past semester, except November.
Each month?
Yeah. So basically, there's somebody going each month. So first month, my cousin, he had an aneurysm. I think second was when my aunt, she passed, brain cancer. I think third, right after she passed, one of my cousins got murdered. It's my dad's side, so he was literally the opposite version of me, as far as because he's my first cousin. You know, same situation. Dad had I had a daughter and a son. You know, well, my dad has other kids, but for this, had two, and a son. And we got different dads, so we turned out differently. But you know, when he was in jail, we sent the money. You know, so I said, found out he got murdered. I got the call. And it's October, November, and then December, right during finals week, my nephew, he was 30, but he passed. He had a heart attack getting ready for work.
At 30?
Yeah. He's a decent weight. Yeah. You know, but we wouldn't have thought of that.
Right.
And then and like I said, it was so sudden because, after my dad got kind of distant with the family, but he's the main one reaching out to me. It's that. And then at the same time, everyone's like, yeah, I was just texting him that morning. So everyone was literally just texting him, Snapchatting him, whatever. He responding, and it's suddenly no response. So that shows you, like, you have to appreciate the people while they're there in front of you, no matter what, because it's as simple as I was literally just texting somebody and now they're dead. And you have to put it in perspective, whether it's family or friends. So, it reminds myself to keep myself in check, because you don't know what the next person's dealing with. Like I said, if we look like what we've been through, there'll be something played that is totally different. But I know, my friend, she lost one of her friends, her childhood friends last semester too. We've all lost somebody at some point, and it's important to know that one, people don't know how to handle when someone loses somebody, because there's a slight depression and you act out a little bit. So it says as simple as understanding that you can't fully understand, but you can be there, and simply telling someone that you are there, that helps. Let's say it's an entire school full of people, you know what's going on in their lives. So all it takes, like you said, is to go up to somebody and say, how you doing? Like Deontay showed us earlier, the story about the employee. When you're at Best Buy, and then, you can explain that one.
The one with the lady, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this lady, her name is Miss Moniz. I would never forget her. She was one of my customers when I did currently work at Best Buy. She came in, you could tell she was having the worst day ever. A facial expression or body language says a million words for people that don't realize that. And she came in and I was like, hi, how are you doing? Can I help you anything today? And she was like, no, I'm fine. And I was like, well, if you don't mind me asking, what's wrong? You know what I'm saying? Like, you look really broken, like you had a tough day. If you don't mind talking about it, what happened? And, she told me someone broke into her house, and they stole her stuff. And she worked really hard for it. She's also a single mother that had 2 kids, And so I really felt for her, because it's like I tell people, a lot of people were like, how do you do it? And my managers even asked me, how do you do it? Because it's like, I still have customers, according to my manager, when I go visit, I still have customers that still ask about me today, like, where did he go? Is he coming back?
You're memorable.
I'm memorable, yeah. And I don't take that for granted. I don't take that lightly. I'm very grateful and very humble for that. Because, God has given me the gift to empathize with people. Like I said, my passion is to help people. It's giving me that gift. Not everyone could do that, And she was having the worst day, and I felt so bad. Not because I possibly went through that experience. Someone broke into our house before when I was younger and stole my bike that I worked really hard to achieve. My mom saved a lot of money to get, But not because I went through the same experience, but how hurt she was. She was so shattered, because whatever they took, I could tell by her face it was of precious value. And it's something she probably wanted to keep, not because of its price tag, but because of its memory. And that's the image she gave off. And, so when I helped her, of course there's a trillion options for cameras. And so I got to know her as a person. You can't adequately sell anybody anything if you don't know who you're selling to. If you just treat them as a customer, it's never going to work. The reason I was so successful at making an impact on my customer, although I didn't sell millions of dollars worth of sales, is because I always wondered, who was I talking to? Not just a blank face coming in for a product. I always made sure every time they stepped through that door, they were my friend. And I always wanted to make sure that I assured them of that fact, that you are my friend at this point. You're not just some random stranger I'm selling something to. Because if you're just a random stranger I'm selling something to, I'm not going to give you what you need. Right. So I'm not going to know what you need because I don't know you. So like what he's saying, when it comes to helping people, I was explaining to them earlier, you have to break the barriers. You have to get to know them before you just talk to them. Like some people, and even in school, you walk past, we were walking with you to come and do the interview. Yeah. We walked past somebody who said, hi there.
Yeah,
looking at you like
that happens.
Like, who are you, or why are you speaking to me? I don't know you. So it's like even the hi goes a long way. Sometimes even if their facial expression doesn't show it, they could be having the worst day ever, and they hear a hi from somebody, or they'll be like, oh, things will get better. They hear those little things, and it helps. So what made me an adequate salesman was that I always got them what they needed versus what I should have gave them. And
you went above and beyond.
Yeah, I went above and beyond for the customer. World-class experience is what my manager refers to it as. But not everybody was doing world-class experience, but I'm not going to get into that.
I got you.
But yeah, I made sure I did that every time. And that's just how I operate with people, in general. Like my mom always instilled in us that even though we didn't have everything everybody else had, we had something way more. We had love, we had passion, you know what I'm saying? We had compassion, we had all of those things, and that's hard for other people to get. So I'm always going to be eternally grateful, for that fact, especially because of all the talents I have. I'm very humble with it because it's like, I don't take that for granted. Not everybody has those talents. Some people wish they had those talents. Some people envy others because of their talents.
Yep.
So I don't take them for granted. I don't take it lightly, and I use them to the maximum of their ability, each and every one that I have. So, yeah.
Awesome. Anything else you guys would like to add about SGA? Anything you're looking to do?
Yeah, like I said, we need more people who are interested in student government. Because although we can't just find somebody and elect them in, we want someone who actually is going to have a passion to help other people. It's that, I said, as vice president, I'll be leaving this semester, so we also have a legacy, which is someone coming in right behind us for our position directly.
The foundation.
Yeah, so with that, I will personally look for someone who has a passion for helping people. Simply the same ideals. But at the end of the day, everyone has their own preferences, their own desires to help people. But we just need people to, with a genuine heart, just the desire to help people and to bring people together. So that's anybody, very welcome to come in.
Do you guys have a location where you meet? Times that you guys usually meet?
Yes. So we just finalized times today, and we will meet. More than likely, if you guys or anyone wants to get in touch with us, we're always in our SGA room every now and then, on and off.
Is that by the cafeteria?
Yes,
okay.
It's located in the cafeteria, and it says Student Government Association. It's a glass box.
Okay.
Can't miss it. Where one of us are usually in there pretty much one of the days out of the week, mostly. It's very rare that we go a whole day without being there, at least one of us.
Okay.
But our official meeting dates is every third Thursday of a month.
Okay.
And
Could
it'll be
anybody
financial
come
room.
to these, or does
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We encourage a lot of people to come. Even if you're just there and you want to learn about what's going on and you are interested in it, or if you want to be affiliated with it, if you want to know what we're about, even after we tell you about it, you still want to be like, hey, I got to see what they're really about. We're definitely encouraged to come because you guys have a voice as well, and we're trying to be the voice for you guys, but you have to allow us. So we would definitely want you guys.
You said Thursdays in the MB
financial
room at what time?
At 12.
Every Thursday.
Every third Thursday.
Every third Thursday.
So every 3 weeks.
Okay, got it.
Every third Thursday of the month.
So when will your next meeting be?
Our very first official student body meeting will be the 21st.
Okay, the 21st.
Of February.
Okay, all right. Sounds great, guys.
O'clock.
Thank you. So what I'll do, do you guys have anything else? You guys good?
No.
One important election coming up. When is the election for student trustee? The student trustee is an extremely important role. However, I think we only have 2 people running for the role at the moment, running for the position. So I would say, one, look into it, look it up. I get information, but I prefer when people actually sit and do the research themselves to see who they're, voting for. So I would say that, and that it's important to vote for them or to look into it because they actually deal with what happens inside the school itself. And just like SGA, we're directly under the student trustee, essentially, in a sense. So in a way, we still have to work with them. Even, the way that we have Good was from the past student trustee who made that connection happen. So that shows the power of the student trustee and the things they can get done on campus for you if you want it. So that's pretty much my last word on it.
I had no idea that the student trustee was the one who brought in Good Burger, the last one. Sweet, yeah, I had no idea. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate your time. So what else?